Good evening, everyone. Hope you're well and safe. Tonight we're speaking to Todd Bonner from Detroit Paranormal Expeditions. We're going to bring him on now.
Hi, Todd.
Hi, Todd.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me
How
on.
are you?
Oh, you're welcome.
You're very welcome.
How have you been?
How have you been?
I guess good as can possibly be. COVID obviously has been a hardship for a lot of people. And if you're in the paranormal, it's even harder to try and navigate, to try and get in locations and investigate. You just have to be safe, really, honestly, in these times. And we're hoping 2021 with the vaccines and stuff like that rolling out that maybe it'll be a little more easier than what it's been the past year. But I think it's been just tough on everybody in general. And obviously
Never ever known a year like this. It's really, really awful, isn't it?
Horrible. I never thought I'd see something like this in my lifetime, but I think the paranormal for a lot of us is kind of an outlet to get away from our everyday lives and work and kids. Then that's kind of taken away from you with COVID. It's been a rough go. We've managed to do a few spots the last year and a half, but you have to take those safety precautions. And if you really want to do it, you can make it happen. But I think anything like that, people need to do stuff so they don't get depressed, they don't get sad, feel isolated. Here in Michigan, we've had a pretty good lockdown off and on for the last year. And you just see a lot of small businesses going out of business, never opening again. It's affected a lot of people. So hopefully this year will be a lot better for everyone.
Fingers crossed.
But I think it's allowed us, and the way you guys do it, live streaming, to kind of bring people some entertainment, some happiness during their day, and something a little different. Any way you can help people not feel so isolated, not get that depression set on, and hopefully we can lift them up when we're talking about the stuff we talk about.
Yeah, definitely. Get back out there, getting the evidence. Yeah, that's what it's all about.
It'll be good.
Could we just ask you, Todd? Could you explain a little bit about yourself for everybody that's watching, just in case they don't know who you are?
Sure. I'm co-founder of Detroit Paranormal Expeditions. I'm also co-owner of DPX Productions. It's a small production company that we do non-scripted reality TV. And I'm host of the Para Exchange, a little podcast I've done for years, and then I stopped about a year and a half ago. And now I've picked that back up recently again. So I'm trying to stay busy. I've had more time, I think, this year and a half than before. So I don't know. It's been a fun journey, a fun path. I've been doing the paranormal for about a decade professionally. I got involved with it, about 10 years ago. Jeff Atkins is co-founder of Detroit Paranormal Expeditions, and I met him on our previous team we were on. And we were on that team together for 5 years or so, 6 years. And the team didn't do enough or a lot, or we want to do more. Maybe it was us that want to do more and get out more and see more and travel more. And we decided to form Detroit Paranormal Expeditions. We started with nothing. We had nothing but an idea and a lot of ambition. And it's taken off the last, 4 years. We just passed our 4-year anniversary this past December. And it's grown more than I can ever think. I mean, we've been very fortunate to a lot of TV shows and in newspapers, and I think even in the UK, Daily Mail and Daily Sun and stuff like that. We've been in, even on some of the evidence we've captured, have been over there. So it's been a fun ride. It's an interesting journey. I met a lot of great people along the way. So it's fun.
Oh, brilliant.
Could we ask how it all started for you?
With the paranormal.
The whole paranormal thing?
I think for me, as I'm getting older, I'm kind of figuring out, but I've had a few near-death experiences when I was younger. And I'm still trying to figure out this journey I'm on. It's always evolving and changing, but I think that had a huge play in the paranormal. I've always been attracted to it, and I think for me, it's to answer, and everyone has their own reasons why they're involved with paranormal.
Yes.
For me, it's personal reasons. I just want to know, and I believe because of my near-death experiences that there are things on the other side. There are otherworldly things that are here with us, or maybe they follow you as an individual. Maybe it is a house that's haunted. Maybe it is an antique shop. Maybe it's an item. But I think for me personally, it feels like things follow me, whether it's, past family members, trying to guide you still, if that even makes sense.
Yeah.
But it's like a personal journey for me, I think, more than anything else, to enjoy this journey I'm on. It's scary at times. I didn't understand it when I was younger, but as I've gotten older, I think it's, enabled me to get to where I am now. I understand things a lot better. I've experienced so many different things now. So it's still coming together. I may never figure it all out before I pass on, but I'm getting a better understanding of why I'm doing this or why I'm so pulled and drawn to it.
Mm-hmm. It's a constant kind of learning curve, isn't it, for everybody? We find that in this kind of field. You're learning all the time. You pick up new ideas. There's
learn from everybody around
learn
you.
from everyone around you.
It is really and you have to kind of be a sponge. I mean, there's good ways to do things that I've learned from other people, and there's also things that I don't do that I've learned from other people that might necessarily jive with the way I do things. But I think at the end of the day, everyone has their own reasons why they do this. Whether you're on a team or you do it individually, it's still, I always stick to my guns and stick to my intuition. I think intuition plays a huge part in this. It's just, you have to trust your gut instinct. And the more I've done this, the more I think I've grown in tune with my body and intuition. And I actually can use this better in normal life too, because I think you learn to be more sensitive. Even, you're in the darkness at places, your sight, your hearing, just your natural instincts kind of take over a lot of times. And I think the more that we do this, the more that, over the hundreds and hundreds of investigations I've done, I think I've got myself in tune with those kind of different heightened instincts that we're born with that we don't always use, though. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah.
Some people do, some people don't. There's people that don't do paranormal. They'll never understand what I'm talking about. Sitting in a dark, location or a haunted hospital or a prison or a house, to take that all in. And this isn't for everybody. Not a lot of people do this. If you look at the big picture, so it's different for us. I believe we're more in touch.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
definitely for us. I mean, it's been, along the way we've become a bit more sensitive. Obviously, like seeing more things, sensing more things. Just find the more you do it, the more, your senses become more in tune.
I believe that. And it's, and a lot of people, I'm still skeptical to a certain extent. I think you have to be. You can't just take, because you hear some of these ghost stories or the hauntings or supernatural things, people enhance those, make them bigger stories than what they are. And I'm the type of person that's always been, I'd rather experience or feel it or see it myself to really believe it. And so that's why I kind of just jump in head first in a lot of things and just see what happens, and that's another thing, like you were talking about the paranormal, everyone's technique's different. You don't run into the same person, people do the same thing over and over. It might be the equipment might be the same you use. I don't know if I'm a big proponent so much with equipment. We have thousands and thousands of dollars of equipment that people like to see us use, and sometimes I believe in them. Like we use a lot of spirit boxes. I believe the ghost boxes are something I've kind of drawn myself to. But there's the K2 meters and all this different stuff. There's so many variances that can affect those type of devices. I'm just old school. I like to have a digital recorder, a flashlight, and just see what happens. Honestly, it's sounds pretty simple, but that's just how I like to do it. The spirit boxes the last few years, I've really, really started to come to enjoy them a lot more. And I can't explain them. And there's so many different variations of the ghost box or spirit box. And there's a handful of builders. There's not a lot of builders around the world that do this. I just picked up one from the UK from Enlightened. I can't think of the last name of their group. Paranormal. And it's a different kind of box. I've never seen it before, so I should be getting it hopefully this week. But a lot of them are hand built.
That could be is that the new one? It's got the ATDD feature.
Yeah, and it's got this pulse. Yeah, it's different. There's no like hacked radio with it. So the voices that come out of it sound pretty incredible. So I'm looking forward to trying to, that out. And I always I buy stuff from all different builders, different, variations. Because there are people like you and I that love doing the paranormal, but they can't, I can't build that stuff too well. I've taken a stab at building some portal type boxes that have been pretty successful. But like the hand carved wooden boxes, some of those internals, like a Geo box, we have a Geo box from George Brown, and that's a pretty amazing piece of equipment. But they all use different variations. Some use hacked radios, some use apps, some use those new voice technology, like the box I'm getting soon, which I don't understand how that works, but it sounds amazing. So there's things like that you always have to be open-minded to try new things and see what happens. And I think that's part of my journey too. And there's some things I've bought that are just awful that I don't like. Like, my God, I'm like, I cannot believe I even bought this. But there's other stuff that's just been incredible. I call them works of art almost, because they are, a lot of these builders put a lot of creativity into them also. And there's not like a store, like a Paranormal R Us, where you can just go shop down rows and rows of paranormal equipment, It's just these guys that do the paranormal that have figured out how to build things, and there's not a lot of stock. They usually build them when ordered. So I'm very thankful for those guys, because I think it's enabled us as investigators to find different ways to investigate and try different ways to investigate and see what works best for you.
Exactly, that's true. Going on with the paranormal as well, you've done a few shows, haven't you? Is it Haunted Paranormal Files?
Haunted Case Files, and I think it was in the UK too, and they changed the name of it. It was like Paranormal Files or something. Haunted Case Files, Destination Fear, Paranormal Survivor, Most Terrifying Places.
Wow.
A few more. There's a couple more. I can't think of them right now. We just filmed for a new show. I can't say what it is because it's not out yet, for Travel Channel and Discovery Plus. This Friday, I just filmed something for that. So that aspect, we've been very fortunate, and I'm very thankful for that. I know a lot of people don't like necessarily doing TV, or they feel like it's selling out, but I actually like doing it because I get to tell my story, and I get to enjoy telling the things I've done and seen and been a part of. So I enjoy myself that way. I don't think there's any harm in it. I'm not faking anything or embellishing anything. I'm just telling my story a lot of the times, or I'm part of like the Destination Fear guys. I love those guys. They're younger, up and coming paranormal group, and I think that's cool the way they do things. I'm older. I'm 48. Those guys are in their 20s, so it's kind of nice to see that big discrepancy and them trying new things and going to different places. And it's good for the younger generation, because trying to pass what we do on to them is kind of cool to see what's happening, and they may find new things that we never thought about too. So, and they're a legitimate show. I mean, I don't think they fake anything. They're good people, and a good young group of people that are really trying to search for the unknown, and these things that they're afraid of, they try to overcome it, which is kind of what we do anyway too. I've been scared of a few places, and you try to overcome your fear a lot of times to see. I think
it's only natural, isn't it? Fear is something that we all fear things, especially when we can't see what it is that's actually happening. But yeah, it's part and parcel of kind of, for me, it's kind of like the thrill factor, living on your nerves in a sense.
No, it is for me too, and I think I'm afraid of heights and roller coasters or anything like that. And I think this is a rush for me, and it's almost like you're addicted to it, because when you get evidence or you feel or see and have an experience, you want more. You want to see what's going to happen next. So you keep going back and back and back and seeing what you can find. But it is like a rush. It's an exhilaration. I can't explain like the feeling I get when you get totally freaked out or creeped out about something. It's like something I can't explain, but I'm sure it's like people that are those adventures, like skydivers and People that love doing that kind of crazy adventure type things, it's probably the same feeling, the same exhilaration that we experience, they probably experience too.
It's kind of like when people say, "Oh my God, you sat in that dark room on your own. Like, weren't you scared?" And it's like, well, no, not really.
I know people think it's weird, but it is. I've been in places before. There's a place in West Virginia, Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum. It's one of the most
I've heard of that one.
haunted places in America, and I felt super comfortable. I fell asleep on the floor. And there's things like that have happened before. I was exhausted, but I didn't feel. It was one of those things, like a total comfort just came over me. I relaxed and I fell asleep for a couple of minutes. But there's other places that you have to kind of watch your back or watch what's going on around you, because it does feel off. It does feel like a darker energy around you. But everyone's different. Everyone's experience is different, and I enjoy it. I enjoy everything I do. Every part of this I love, and I'll keep doing it till I stop. I think I'll stop when I quit enjoying it.
That's probably the best time, isn't it?
Yes.
It'd be the same for us, I think.
I don't think I'll quit.
Has there been a place you've investigated, either in America or over here? I'm not sure if you've been over in the UK, that's actually scared you the most?
There's been a couple of places that have done that here in the States. One in particular in Michigan is in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. We have two peninsulas in Michigan, Lower and Upper. So this was a old musician's home that dated back to the 1860s, 1870s. And she was a famous American musician back in her time. I think she died in 1930s or 40s, but she sold 1 million records. Someone you'd never heard of, her name's Carrie Jacobs Bond. I'd never heard of her before we went to her house. And we were just doing some investigating, and nothing really seemed off, or really wasn't much activity, but we were able to find one of her records or her vocals on YouTube. So one of our investigators started playing her music, which was creepy in itself. It was like a song from 1920. Very creepy sounding song, but it was a famous song back in those days. And the whole vibe changed. The activity changed. It ramped up. I was sitting across, and it was Lauren, was the investigator that played the music. She was probably 6 feet away from me on the other side of the parlor. I was sitting on a couch, and I had a K2 at the end of the couch, and our digital recorder happened to catch this. Obviously, when these things happen, we never have a video going, of course, but that's the way it goes. But the digital recorder is actually picking up the K2 meter sliding on this sofa, and then it turns red. It shoots in the air 5 feet, hits Lauren in the leg. She jumps up screaming. I jump up screaming, and we run out of the house. And Jeff Adkins was upstairs in this house. He came running. He didn't know what happened. He came running out. And it was something I'll never forget. That kind of energy had that much, or that entity had so much energy, it could actually throw something 5 feet away from me. Actually hit Lauren in the leg. So I think it was kind of pissed at her because she played that music, and it hit her. So we kind of regrouped, and Jeff and I said, let's man up. I'm going to go back in there. Let's just go back in there and see what's going on. So we took like a 20, 25 minute break. No one else wanted to go back in this house. So Jeff and I did. We went set, and as soon as we walked in the door to get in the house, the staircase, the winding staircase was on the left. The parlor, which we just ran out of, was on the right. So to get in and out of this house, you had to go towards the staircase out the door. So we sat down like a little tea table, Jeff and I in the parlor, and we just started asking questions. And when we're asking questions, not even 2 minutes in, you could hear footsteps in the back of the house coming towards us. And it sounded like boots walking. They got really heavy at the top of the staircase, like almost like a stomp. And then they came running down the stairs. I could hear this thing running down the stairs. So I immediately just took off. I wanted to stay, but it was like one of those, again, intuition, natural instinct type things for me to leave, like a fight or flight instinct. I just got up and ran out. And it was scary because I had to run by the staircase of the thing that was coming down towards us to get out of the house. We got out. We were able to get that on recorder, but you could hear something was coming down fast, like running down the steps toward us. It was a winding spiral staircase. We never found out what it was. We think it was just one of our psychics on our team thinks that house was where all the spirits on this property would gather. And it had never been investigated before, nothing paranormal. And we were the first people to try and talk to whatever was there. And they might have been scared. You know, they don't know what's going on. And I, I have my theories on what is the other side, or who are we talking to? And so they were just trying to scare us off, or might have been inquisitive to find out. But the way they did it scared us. It sounded like, and it was on a old abandoned iron mine. This house, it was a museum. And so the boots, it sounded like boots. So it could have been an old miner, that had passed away. And he was upset that we were invading their privacy or their space. But that was one of the most where I can actually feel it and I can hear it. The negative energy, that was one thing I'll never forget. That just that the feeling of what the hell is coming at us. What is it? Because you're excited at first because you hear footsteps and they're loud and they're obvious. With a lot of paranormal evidence you get, it's very subtle. You have to listen over the recordings over and over to pick things up. This was far from subtle. It was something making itself known, making its energy known to us. And it was something I'll never forget. That's probably one of the most scared I've ever been doing this stuff.
So have you ever been marked at all?
No, I haven't. I've had an attachment before, though, which was a whole crazy thing in itself. I can go into that story. I'll try to make it short because it's a long story. But we had went to a place in Indiana called Randolph County Infirmary. That's basically a big asylum or a poorhouse in Indiana, fairly good sized. And we had went there overnight, Jeff and I and a couple other people from our team. And nothing really happened during the investigation, really. So it was about 3 o'clock in the morning. We decided to turn in. And as soon as we laid down to go to sleep, we heard doors slamming all over. And we were the only people in there. We were locked. We were actually locked in. And we were the only people in that building. So we started hearing doors slam. And at first I thought, am I just like half asleep, half awake type of thing? When you have that where it's like, did I just hear that?
Yeah.
So I sat up in bed and it did it again. And we all it was Jeff and Matt and I were the only ones sleeping there. Kind of freaked out, kind of talked it out. I went down to make sure the doors were locked. They were all locked still, so I couldn't explain what it was, but I didn't really want to go by myself and explore and find out what it was at that point. So we went to sleep and went home the next day. A huge thunderstorm came overnight while we were there and a lot of crazy stuff. So the next week or so, I started feeling off. I started feeling odd. I didn't say anything to anyone because I didn't really understand at the time. Well, I thought maybe I was just going through, an emotional spell or something. Who knows? And Jeff had called me and said, I got to tell you something. This might sound weird, but there's been some crazy things happening to me lately. He told me a story that he was out and his car battery died for no reason. There was another instance where he was in his shower and he lived by himself at the time. He got out of the shower and his door was locked. And he didn't lock it. It was shut and locked. And he lived by himself. He never had a reason to shut the door or lock it. Then he had woke up one night to a shadow figure in the middle of his hallway, directly when he looked up from his bedroom. And he got up, jumped up, of course, scared to death. And the thing ran at him, and he ran towards it and ran right through it. And he turned around and was gone. Oh. Well, I had a brand new 2016 Dodge Ram. And the same day Jeff's battery died, my battery died. We had not known that this was happening to each other. And this truck was brand new. I'd had it for a couple of days. And I mean, this could happen to anybody, anytime. I'm not saying this is paranormal. Yeah. Maybe it's just a freak coincidence. But I called the dealership. They said, no, that usually doesn't happen. It's possible it could happen. I mean, they're brand new battery, brand new car. And I had also woken up with a shadow figure standing over my bed. And I always rationalize, especially back then, this was early on when we first started, I rationalize things off so they don't freak me out. And then I had other things happen at the house. I heard stuff running up in my attic, and I got up in my attic. There's nothing up there. And then it started to make me feel almost not like myself. Like I was withdrawn. I want to quit the paranormal. I had all these weird feelings. And I have psychic friends from all over the world. And they started messaging me. Saying you have something's on you. It's a negative energy from the 1800s. It was a bad person, possibly a murderer. You need to do certain things to get this away from you. And it wasn't just one. It would be different if one psychic would have told me that, but it was multiple that didn't know each other. And I had never told anybody about anything that was going on. They just had to reach out to me because they felt that. So I did some of the stuff they said, and basically mine went away. Jeff's stayed for months. He had a lot of crazy experiences with it. And I never used protection before. I used a lot of Catholic and Christian. I wear them all the time with me now. And stones I carry with me. But that time when I was back in the early days, I didn't at all. I thought, I'm a guy, nothing's going to affect me, nothing's going to harm me. But that instance really changed how I look at the paranormal. And that's, I think, one thing people underestimate is when you go into these locations, you don't know. I don't know if we're really talking to ghosts. You know what I mean? I don't know if they're really.
Exactly.
I want them to be human spirits, but it could be, everyone has these, it's aliens, it's a parallel universe. It's, there's all kinds of different theories that people have.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, we don't know what we're dealing with at all. You know what I mean? So I've taken my faith to another level when I do investigations. Even myself, I was raised a Catholic. I went to Catholic schools growing up, but I kind of got away from that as an adult. And then I kind of regrouped because I think religion ties into a lot of stuff we do too. And I just feel, for me personally, and it doesn't have to be for everybody, that the church and the religious aspect gives me much comfort, and I feel like I'm protected, at least when I go into these locations now. I've never had an incident since. I mean, it could be all mind games too. That's my subconscious is thinking this, and I feel like I'm protected, so I am protected. Again, who knows if this stuff works, what we're doing to protect ourselves even.
It's true. A lot of people, they do kind of like intent messages before as well.
Right.
So like, saying stuff with intent, like to keep yourself safe and
I never listen to
whatever
that
works for you, isn't it?
I think so. And there's people that don't wear anything and don't have any. I take a lot of stones with me too, protection stones and stuff like that. But there's people that don't bring anything, and they never have. They just don't believe in that stuff, and that's fine if you don't. But it's worked for me since. I've never had an issue, so I'm just always going to do it that way.
We got a few. We carry like tourmaline and obsidian and
we quite a
rose
few,
quartz and stuff.
Yeah,
we carry a few.
Going back to Gary's asked a question there.
The previous place we were talking about.
He said, "Are you planning on going back there soon?" That would have been the previous one.
Yeah, I've actually been to that house that I ran out of. We went back again. We gave a presentation to the town of our paranormal findings and our experiences. And so I didn't want to go back in that house, but everyone kept saying, come on, go back in the house. So Jeff and I went upstairs to one of the bedrooms. And we have this recording too. I said, I hate saying this, but if there's anyone upstairs, come in this room with us. And you hear the same footsteps coming down the hall right into that bedroom. And I just said, and this is in the daytime this time. This wasn't even at night. I just said that I'm done with this place. You know what I mean? This is like, and it didn't feel, it had that negative energy. It went from feeling fine to when that thing came in the room again, it was negative. So I just haven't been back since. It's like a 12, 13-hour drive for us from Detroit to get up to this place, even though it's in Michigan. That's how far it is. So I've been there twice, and I don't know if I'll ever, it's a beautiful area. The townspeople are beautiful. But there's something there, and that place is definitely haunted that does not like me there. So I'm not going to push my luck with that one. So I've been back, and I had experience again.
It's weird how the energy can just change just like that as well. Yeah,
we've experienced it, haven't we? So many times on different locations. It's 1 minute it's fine, and the next it feels.
It just
changes, doesn't it? You can't explain.
You
can't explain, but you just know.
It's like a light switch. It's like a light switch.
Yeah, you physically. If someone said to you, "Oh, what does it feel like when it changes?" You physically can't explain it. Like to try and put it into words, it's impossible.
That's why I can't describe it, but a lot of times it's that. Even when the energy shifts, it's you feel like an energy rush. You feel like you get hyped up. Sometimes my heart will start. You get like anxiety almost. It feels like when the energy changes, you physically can feel that change. But there's other people, like I was saying, that aren't in tune. If you're in tune with the other side and you're in tune with what you're doing, you'll notice those subtle changes will be big changes. It's happened to me a few times where I go to places, I'm like, I'm not going in here. I feel, and I'm not psychic or anything by any means, but I think everyone has that natural instinct, natural ability built inside them. It's your own body's like protection. Protect yourself. And I've had that where it's like, oh, I've been places where I felt sick to my stomach and had to leave. I've had other places where I've got extremely mad and angry for no reason and had to leave. When I leave a location, I'm back to normal. So your body, I think, is a good tool. One of the most important tools for investigating is to trust your own instincts. Especially if you've done this for years, where you can sense when something's happening and you can trust your body telling you, hey, don't mess with this. Or there's been times where it's been negative, but I fought through it just to want to see what was happening. And very rarely, a few times I've had actually to run out of places, just a very few times, but it's got that intense for me. But I trust my intuition. And I think, we're talking about equipment. I think you're your best piece of equipment, honestly, if you're intuitive.
Definitely.
Trust yourself. And if you're with people you've investigated with for years, and Jeff and I are best friends, so I trust him like he trusts me, we both can help each other. We both know what's going on. And I think even the rest of our group, Brandy and Jen and Christopher and Matt, everybody else, we've done this together for so long. It's like a squad. You got your backs, and everyone knows what's going on, and you learn how each other responds or reacts to things. I've been in places where I've never been with a person before. Their first time investigating with this person, it's a different experience, not the greatest experience. But it's just, everyone's different with this stuff. Everyone really is.
Yeah.
Have you ever done sensory experiments at all?
We do one. It's like a sensory deprivation. We'll put blindfolds on here. We use a PSP-7, and then we'll ask questions. That person can't hear what we're saying because we use noise canceling.
It's a good way, isn't it?
And spit the words out. Yeah, we've even tried it with a gas mask. Like change the scent. Like give them a different scent with their nose to use. So you have your eyes, ears, nose. I like to do one with taste too. Maybe chew a piece of gum while they're doing it, so they kind of get a whole different atmosphere away from what's around them.
Good idea.
And keep enhancing. Instead of just your eyes and your ears, smell something different, taste something different while you're doing this, because then that's another way that all your senses are deprived of where you're at that moment. You know what I mean? You can't. A lot of places, haunted places, smell musty because a lot of them are abandoned. And you can get that smell. So if you could put rosemary or menthol or something under your nose, you can smell that, and you're kind of out of that location 100%.
Good thinking.
I did I had it done to me once. We were on a location, and I opted in to do this sensory experiment. They gave me a blindfold. They put some earplugs in my ears and some headphones on top, so I couldn't see anything. I couldn't hear anything at all. And I could feel something to one side of me. Like it was almost like someone was really close to me.
Right.
And I was unaware of what they were saying. They were asking someone to move to one side so I could react. But I could see, even though it was pitch black, I couldn't see a thing, but I could see something darker than what I could see. It was really weird. And when they took it off, they were asking questions. I was like, because they could see my reactions as well.
Right.
But that was weird.
Yeah, that was
weirdest feelings.
Strange thing, because the questions we were asking was, can the spirit come close to her on her left side? And Jess was actually brushing her left arm as if someone was touching her.
Yeah.
And she could actually feel it and see, even though she's got the blindfold on. It's incredible.
It's like, when if you're standing, I don't know, in a queue or something like that, when someone's coming up closer to you, because you kind of you sense it.
Yeah.
And that's what it was like. It was really weird.
It is. And I don't like doing that. We have other people that do that because I feel like I'm caged almost. I don't know anything that's going on around you, basically. I still like to use, like I said, with the senses, you kind of develop the sight, sounds, even smell sometimes at locations. But I hate when that's taken away. Then I feel like I'm going to get anxiety or something. I've tried it a couple times, but there's other guys on the team and other people enjoy doing that. And I've thought about using different aspects of how to really isolate that person. With the smell and taste and sight, and hearing, to see if you have no your sensory deprivation is gone because you're not actually sensing the place that you're at. It's taken away. You're in your own little world and you're just hearing those voices come through the PSP-7 spirit box. We've gotten some good results doing it that way. It's hard, I think, on the person to sit there and not know what's being said and hear these crazy. Because sometimes they say swear words like "f you" and other things will come out of that, and it kind of freaks you out, when it says that stuff. So usually when that happens, you're dealing with a darker energy. I've never dealt with anything demonic or anything like that.
When it comes to shadows, what's your opinions on what they actually are?
I still think what we're dealing with were people that used to be human.
Okay.
I don't understand, we're all energy while we're alive. And sometimes when you die, some people's energy lingers. Maybe everyone's lingers a little bit, and some are stronger than others for some reason. But I think, the shadow figures are people. Somehow they have enough energy to show themselves. I've never seen like on a movie or TV show where it's a person, you can see all the details of their face and their clothes. I've experienced shadow figures 4 times in my life, and it's always just been a shadow. It's always been a shadow darker than the darkness. And sometimes it's been lighter. The background's been lighter so you can see them better, but it's always been a silhouette of a person, but not detailed, not super detailed, Or I've seen a couple experiences where it's been like a gray mist type figure. Again, no features that you could distinctly tell who it is or what it is, but it's always similarly shaped to a person. I really think it's a person able to manifest itself.
Yeah, they do seem to be the most common sighted, don't they? It's definitely, I would say it's the only thing I've actually physically seen in shadows. I don't see them as actual full apparitions or anything like that. I can't say as I've ever seen that. But I've definitely seen shadows more than on more than one occasion.
Yeah, I've been lucky enough to about 4 times. I'll never forget.
Was that a full apparition? Or shadows? Pardon? Was that a full apparition? Or was that shadows?
Some of it's been partial, like something peeked around a corner. The first time I've ever seen one doing the paranormal was at a place called Ohio State Reformatory. It's a giant prison in Ohio that was actually Shawshank Redemption was actually filmed there. I don't know if you're familiar with it.
Yeah.
So there's about 4 or 5 of us, and actually there's people that work there that saw the shadow figure down at the end of the cell block walk out, walk towards us, dart really fast, and go up on the second tier of cell blocks. So I wasn't crazy. So I thought maybe I'm seeing things, but there's other people to validate. That was the first time I ever saw a shadow figure. Then the way it moved so fast, and it moved like it was floating. But again, it was just like a mass, though. It wasn't a head and shoulder. It was more of a mass. There's been other times where I've actually seen like the silhouette of a head peek around a corner at me that was a shadow figure, and then keep peeking back and forth. And I shine my flashlight, it would be gone. Turn it off and put it down, and you could see it like looking at us. Usually it's just a mass, though. A huge dark mass. Sometimes it has some features of a human. A lot of people think it's demons. I don't think that. I think it's actually people. How they have the energy to manifest that, I don't know. Because there's a lot of energies and spirit that we deal with can't do those things.
Do you think the energy is consumed within the brickwork?
I think a lot of locations retain energy. And going back to that with our spirit boxes, some of our spirit boxes are built from an old psychiatric asylum here in Michigan. It was wood we gathered from there, and they've turned them into spirit boxes. And I think the theory for that, even for me, is that that wood from those locations, and a location like a prison, is the energy is retained in those items, I think.
Yes, yeah.
I really believe that. And with a prison or in a hospital, any hospital where there's a lot of tragedy, a lot of death, I think a lot of those energies still linger behind for some reason. I think some things don't know they're dead. I think they don't understand that they're dead, and why they haven't passed on, or why they haven't, why they're still here fascinates me. You know what I mean? Because it's not everybody. Why can't, my grandparents pass away, or my dad, why aren't they still here? I never picked up on my dad. I never picked up my grandparents, but I've been able to pick up on other things. So it's not every energy stays, but some does for some reason. Some of that energy that stays is very, very strong. And they either have a message for someone, or they have a message to get out sometimes, or I feel that they don't know that they're dead. They don't know why they're here. It's got to be a strange feeling. I can't imagine feeling 1 foot in, 1 foot out of life and death. You know, if you're a person, I don't know, that would really screw your mind up. You know, thinking what happened to me? What happened to me? You know, and I try to be respectful for that reason. I don't go and provoke. I've never been that type of person to provoke.
One thing we don't do is provoke.
Always respectful to the location, because again, you don't know what energies retained in these locations either.
Yeah,
I think, and it's always helped us. We've got great evidence, but I think it's the way we approach things. Being very respectful, being thankful also for them communicating with us. You know, but some people do it the opposite way. Some people provoke and they get those negative energies back. But you got to think, if a stranger walks into your house and starts asking you a bunch of questions, how are you going to react when you're alive? If someone walked in my door and started acting the way guys act, kick him in the ass and say, "Get the hell out of my house." You know what I mean? So,
it's all about being respectful, isn't it?
I think it goes a long way. And energies, you know, people say there's demonic, and I'm sure there is, and we've never ran into it. And thankfully we never have, because that's something that could really wreak havoc in your own life and really do a lot of damage.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
But I think there's good people in the world, there's bad people, and when you die, you don't change. If you're a good person in this life, you're going to be a good person in the afterlife. If you're a bad person, an asshole in this life, it's not going to change in the afterlife.
Strongly what we believe. Same thing.
So those bad energies or negative energies, I think, are just bad people that are still bad. And, you know, sometimes they like being that way. Maybe they thrive on being that person that can scare people or trying to harm people. And, you know, it doesn't mean it's demonic, but it does mean that there are negative energies, negative energy all around us every day.
Yes. Yeah.
Same with prisons and things. I mean, it's not just all bad, is it? In a prison, I mean, some people are in there for not committing the crime. Some people are innocent, so the energy is not always.
No, and you got to think, some people go in prison. Maybe they get life in prison for murder, but they've changed their whole life. You know, they did this when they were in their 20s, and people change. I believe people can change. You can do horrible things. At any time in your life, and I think you can, if you look for forgiveness and you mean that you really are truly looking to change, anyone can change. So even in the prison, I think there's people that were bad when they first came in. By the time they die, they're a totally different person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they just got a life sentence for, you know, drugs and stuff like that. You know, nonviolent crimes that you're in prison and die from. So there's a lot of different energies that are in there. And prisons, not all the energies are bad. You know, there are bad people that die in prison. Horrible, horrible people that should rot in prison for the crimes they committed. But there's some people, you know, they change. They turn to the Lord or whatever they do to try and change their life and get structure and try. Or
they've been wrongly convicted as well, because that happens.
Do that too, yeah.
Quite often, doesn't it?
It's just like hospitals. Hospitals, you know, thousands of people die in hospitals in the life of a hospital.
Yeah.
And you know, some are good people, some are bad. So some of that bad energy lingers, some of the good energy lingers. It's just. That's why this fascinates me, because I don't know, you know, this is just what I think. You know, some people could think other things, because there's no scientists sitting there telling us, there's no textbooks to go read and study on this to figure out what we're dealing with. And we're learning as we go, you know what I mean? And if we can document what we learn, I don't really call this a science. I think it's a pseudoscience still. It's not really recognized as a science. So I call it more of a paranormal community instead of like a paranormal field. And because you know, science, we don't have a controlled environment. For it to be a considered science, it'd have to be in a controlled environment. So you'd have to have 100 locations inside of a bubble, basically, and studied for a year with, you know, doing tests with controlled environments and all kinds of different things to find out if it's truly paranormal activity or if it's something else. And I think it's good that we can document what happens. And maybe 20, 30, 40, 50 years down the road, after I'm dead and gone, technology will change and there will be a science for it, but we'll be able to leave kind of a footprint of the beginning of the studies and our evidence left behind. And maybe what we're talking to now will get laughed at 50, 60 years ago. Like, oh, these guys don't know what they're talking, you know? But it's a start. I think it's a good start. And it's fun.
Technology has also come a long way, hasn't it?
Even iPhones, you can capture stuff on iPhones. I've had people capture stuff on live photo and things like that. So as more as the technology gets better, I think it's
so does the understanding, doesn't it?
Yeah,
that also improves.
Mm-hmm. And I think
That's
also the energy, obviously, with the climate across the country, all the violence, and the energy is dark now. But I think there's a big energy, and that's a whole other thing I think about. Like, I think the devil and demons are present right now. I think everything that we're seeing right now, even if you're not religious, you can go back through the Bible and see that things are being told back then of happening are happening now. And I notice even shadow figures and things like that, the darker energies are stronger, more prevalent now than they ever have been since I've started doing this. You see the rioting and just so much hate. And I think that wraps up the energy. I think that ramps up the negative energy. It feeds it. That's another thing we have to look into and try and figure out, because I don't think it's ever been this way, at least not in my lifetime. As much chaos and hatred for people that you used to be friends with that you hate now just because of your political belief or some it's not even really, it's so stupid, really. Where you're either this side, or if you're not on this side, you're not my friend anymore. You know, it's like it's that way. But I think that feeds so much into the paranormal right now. It feeds so much that energy, and I think that's why I notice a lot of people besides me are getting a lot of evidence, more than ever, that I've noticed, really. Again, that's a theory, but it would make sense, honestly, because there's a lot of negative energy. There's still a lot of positive energy in the world, but a lot of the times it seems like the negative energy is taking over sometimes. It really is hard sometimes to see it not taking over.
Yeah, we actually have a question from Dennis Glenn saying, have you ever come across bullying in the field?
And that's happening quite a lot lately.
That's also happening quite often.
You know, I see it. I've had friends. I've never, I don't take part in any drama, or I've never had anyone, you know, you're going to have people hate us because we're successful, I guess. Until you get to know us, we're actually good people. At least I think we're good people, you know. But you do see people attack people because they're successful, or I don't care what people do. I honestly don't care how people investigate. I don't care what they say is their evidence. I'm not here to judge anyone at all. I never have, and I never will. I encourage people to try their own things. You know, some people, they keep saying people want to be on TV. Some people do it for this reasons. I don't really care what you're doing it for. As long as you're doing it, keep doing it. I'm not one to judge. I'm not one to judge.
We're all doing the same thing. We're all, you know. We're all investigating.
Right. It's a shame that people just can't get on and everyone share evidence.
Share the passion.
Instead of it being an us and them type thing, it seems to be like that.
It's and some of it I don't even understand. I mean, I've had people that were best friends that hate each other now because they want different teams or something. You know what I mean? It's like, we're just doing the paranormal. You know what I mean? It's not something to have drama about. It's not something to hate each other for. It's not just do your own thing. Do yourself. Don't worry about what other people do. If someone irritates you, don't follow them or don't look at their posts or whatever. You know, don't bully people, because bullying itself can affect people. I'm a proponent against bullying. Suicide, 100% help with suicide prevention and depression. And I have teenage kids, you know, and I see people. I think teenagers are vicious, but then I see these adults in the paranormal are sometimes more vicious than teenagers.
Oh, definitely.
There's really no need for it, I don't think. I can't think of a good reason to turn on each other. It just doesn't make sense to me, because at the end of the day, you're not doing what you're doing to be friends with everyone in the paranormal. You're doing it for people that follow what you do, and other people. You're not doing it to make friends with Joe Schmo from Texas City Paranormal. You know what I mean? You're not doing it for them. You're doing it for yourself, first of all. And then you're doing it for the people that follow you. If you have a Facebook page, or you have social media where you can share your experiences, or you lecture the people that come to your lectures, that's what you're doing it for. So, you know, that's why I think people kind of fall away from that. Like, who's the most popular, or who's this or that? And it's really not important. It's never been important to me. But that's just my personality. I've never been the type of person to bully. I've tried to be just the opposite, to help people. And, the paranormal community says that they want to help people. You can help each other by leaving each other alone. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
And just carry on with your own life, carry on your own business, and not worry about what other people do.
Yeah, 100%.
It's quite easy too, isn't it? Really, I don't know why.
Very simple. Very
people
simple.
find it so difficult.
Just concentrate on what you're doing.
Yeah.
Don't worry about anybody else.
Another question there from Justin Clifford.
Justin Clifford said, what about people's feelings, as everyone will not be in a good place right now? Does that energy feed it too?
I think that's touched on a little bit what we were talking about with like the world itself, the chaos that the world is and all over, especially with COVID. And then you have, the presidential elections here and the riots and stuff. And I think that feeds the negative and dark energies feed off that. I guarantee, 100% guarantee that. So, and I think when we go investigate, I do think that energies feed off your energy. And I've been with people before that said you can use my energy to communicate, and it's happened. I never do that myself because, again, just to be safe, you don't know what you're dealing with, and I don't want to invite something in to take my energy or into my body. But some people do, and that's fine. I don't judge them on that either. It's just something I wouldn't do. Other theory, obviously everyone knows about batteries getting drained. I've had that happen before. We've done public events with total strangers that would come up. I remember one event we did at a hospital, and on this particular tour, 6 or 7 different people came and showed me their phone had died completely. It was 100%. And people didn't know each other either, just random people. Right. So, and that time, the energy was really ramped up for paranormal activity. So, again, we don't know if that's really how it works. It seems sometimes that, when you change batteries on equipment and they die right away, especially cameras, you can go through camera batteries really, really quick. And normally it wouldn't happen if you're just filming, a baseball game or something outside. I can't explain that. I'm not sure if that's them actually using the battery energy, if they're using our energy. I do know after investigations, I've been extremely wiped out where I'll be tired for the next day. Sometimes it's 2 days. Like I have no energy myself. So again, could that be, the paranormal activity and the entities using your energy? I know people call it paranormal hangover or whatnot.
They do. I was just about to say that. Yeah, they do. I mean, we've had a few of those, haven't we?
Yeah.
Ourselves from different locations.
You can't explain it. I mean, like, you don't know why you sleep in, you get a good sleep. It's not any different than the other day, but the next day after investigation, I've had it a few times where I'm just completely wiped out, where I don't want to get off the couch or I don't want to feel like doing anything. I'm just so tired. And I've had it last like a couple days even where it's just totally drained me. I can't explain it. I don't know. Is that really, did a entity drain my energy, during our investigation or not? It's hard to explain.
Yeah, it is hard though, because like,
isn't it?
It's
different locations, different types of energy, isn't it?
I think there's more unanswered questions in the paranormal than there are answered. And I don't think any of the answers we have, we don't know if they're the right answers or not. You know what I mean? Right. So, but I think that's the big draw for me that keeps me coming back is these unanswered questions. And that the broad majority of unanswered questions that most paranormal investors have, then your own personal questions that you want to find out for yourself are still unanswered, and that just keeps drawing you back for more, And I think that's the huge part of why I do it. I love doing it. And it's fun. And for me, it's been a whole, like I was saying earlier, it's being able to talk about this openly. My first paranormal experience was in the 80s when there was no television shows. My father was a police officer. I went to a Catholic school, and you're taught growing up that ghosts don't exist. So I couldn't talk to anybody about this stuff. Until I got older, I finally said, what the hell? I don't care what people think about me. Because it was still kind of taboo in the 80s. But now it's mainstream. We can have a show like this and talk about this openly. Yeah. People not think we're weird. Well, we are weird probably for what we believe in. We can actually talk about it openly. And there's TV shows about it now. And we've had, doctors and lawyers and, every walk of life talk to us about their paranormal experiences now. So it's open and out there more than ever too. And I think it's made that, I give the TV shows, whether you like them or not, a lot of credit for opening that up for us to be able to talk about this stuff and be able to go in these locations that are haunted that people that own these shops would have never let us in there before, but now that it's kind of popular, they know about it, they'll let you in to investigate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's opened a lot of doors and made things easier in a way for us. But it's still a work in progress. It's going to take forever, but I think it's made leaps and bounds just in the last 5-6 years, with the technology, with the TV shows, with some people working together. Hopefully more people work together down the road. We can have people from the UK work with us, from France or whatever. So we're all working together and kind of comparing evidence, because when you go we go to the same location, you might not get the same experience I got to experience.
Mm-hmm.
And that's another thing that kind of intrigues me is 100 people can go to the same location. 100 people can walk out of that with different evidence.
Mm-hmm.
Not the same one you got. You know what I mean? So why is that? If you go to a location, why doesn't everyone get the same experience if they go there? The same voices, the same communication. I think that's something to say too. Why is that? How many energies really are those? If you don't talk to the same person the next time you go, there's been places I go that I'm familiar with, and we'll get the same voices and same people when they give us their name, talk to us consistently. Why is that? Why is that? Why does that happen? But you get someone else who go to the same place we go to, and they don't get the same person talking to them, or they don't get the same evidence. So there's so many questions, that I'd like to get answers for. I doubt I'll ever be able to until I finally cross over to the other side. I'll come back and haunt people and figure it out myself. But but until then, it's still questions I want answered if I can.
Yeah. So after all this COVID is done with, and we can finally get back out and investigate again, where would be the place you would start to go? What would be your first location?
There's a few places I'd like to go to. I'd obviously like to get to the UK.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows if that'll ever happen the way things are going, because there's just so much history there. The United States history, the oldest place I've ever been to was in 1774 at a place in West Virginia. It was the oldest place I've been to. Like in Detroit and a place in Michigan, they're 1800s, mid 1800s. So you go to UK, you're talking about 700-800-year-old places.
Yeah, we've actually got one down the road from us, actually, haven't we? We've got a 13th century inn.
That just blows me away.
It is just
beautiful.
Phenomenal. It is beautiful.
Beautiful building.
They don't advertise the fact that it's haunted, which is a shame. But
it's where I had my first.
It's
wow.
But the point of senses wise, I remember we were staying in the room and we didn't know it was that haunted at the time. And you took me there for my birthday, didn't you?
Yeah, it's a treat.
And I come over with this almighty headache. I felt physically unwell. And as soon as I left the room, I was absolutely fine. And I think at the time we only had our phone and the Ovilus. And so we were using that because we didn't know much on its paranormal side. And after we went down for dinner, we left the room. I felt fine. Came back. We started using the Ovilus, and the stuff that was coming through. I think we still got EVPs from our recorder as well.
Yeah, I think that.
And the stuff that came through on there. And then my headache came back again. Everything it was really weird. Ovilus was just going crazy.
Yeah, we actually videoed a black shape as well come across the bed. It was really weird. It was
kind of slithered like a snake.
Yeah, it was
if
really
that
weird.
makes sense.
But we caught it on camera.
Got the video still.
But that's just one of the good places. We've got Chepstow Mallet Prison as well down the road from us.
That goes back to
1610.
1610.
5 miles away. So it goes back to about 1610.
Because I like to me, doing the paranormal is a part of it, but the history is a part of it also. I'm very into the history of a location. Historical preservation is huge for us too.
Yeah.
So there's a lot that goes into it besides just going to a haunted house. We do a lot of research on who lived there if we can find out. But America has some old places, not as old as the UK and a lot of haunted places, but still like to get to the UK and just, even if I don't get to investigate, just go and absorb some of the history. That's the main thing to me. But I'm trying to think of a place I want to go to. I'm looking forward to a place called Bruce Mansion in 2021. We should be there in April. So I've investigated there a little bit last year, but COVID throws a wrinkle in everything. So hopefully we can get back to it this year. But that's a place, again, I saw a shadow figure. And it kind of reminded me, because I think, again, we get desensitized doing so many investigations, you get desensitized to your experiences. Like you can hear a door knock or see a shadow figure, and you're not like you used to be. Like, oh my God, I just see that. So this place reminded me why I do the paranormal and why I love it. I was scared shitless at this place. So it kind of got me excited again. So you got to have those reminders, I think, once in a while of why you do this.
And it's one of those, you know, especially when it's giving you that scare factor and that fear that you just want to go back again.
Right.
Unanswered questions.
Oh, yeah.
Gotta go back.
I love that feeling. I love that adrenaline rush of the fear of places and locations. And you start to kind of forget about it. You start to see so much and feel so much. You're like, it's not a big deal anymore. So that place, whatever it was there, wanted to remind me of why I do that. And thankfully it did. It really got refocused again. And I mean, I've always been focused, but we do so many. We go to so many places all the time. We've already done 4 investigations this year. You know, this will be February coming up next week. So we stay busy. We always do stuff, always doing things and going new places. So I kind of had to get that reminder, and it got me remotivated again to remember why I started doing this stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it's definitely been the longest we've ever not done anything.
Yeah.
We had big plans for like loads of locations planned, but none of it's been able to happen.
Yeah, we're still in lockdown, so
we're still in lockdown over here.
Our third one.
Yeah, and we're just hoping that by the summer we could probably start getting back to some kind of normality.
There's talks.
There is talks with the vaccine. So there is a bit of positivity, hopefully. Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we're hoping to. Hopefully the summer, I mean, spring, like all the restaurants have been closed here. God, for months now. And they're going to supposedly open them up next week, possibly. But I mean, it's just different. Basically, it's your utensils that are open in grocery stores and gas stations. We're on a hard lockdown in the beginning, and then it loosened up, and then they quit all the sports again. It's so up and down. And I know they don't know what's happening, and they're basing off the science, but it's kind of screwed up with people's lives. Really,
it has.
Yeah,
definitely.
So different.
Yeah.
We're not built for having shops closed for months on end.
No, not having a life, really, isn't it?
It's not good for the economy.
Being stripped of everything, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is. I mean, eventually it's got to let up. But, hopefully the warmer weather like it was last summer where they kind of, here, though, I can travel down to Ohio, which is 45 minutes to an hour for me, and go to restaurants and everything's wide open. I can go to Indiana wide open, but Michigan, it's locked down. Every state is different how they want to handle it.
Yeah.
Which is, you could travel to we went to Indiana a couple times this year, actually. And they have no quarantine stuff like that. Everything's open, and we have to take it from where we can get it, and just see what happens. Hopefully things will change. I
mean, that's all we can do, isn't it? Really, that's all we can do.
Take it day by day, week by week.
Ride it.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, Todd.
Thanks for having me. I enjoyed myself. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
Flown by already.
I didn't know we're done. Yep, we're done. That was good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's brilliant talking to you.
Fantastic. And thank you for your time.
When's your next show on Discovery Plus?
It should be, I don't know. They'll email me next week. I think it'll be probably in the fall, September. Yeah. But I don't know for sure.
That'd be good. We'll keep an eye out for that.
Yeah. Excellent.
And thanks, all your other programs, are they on Discovery Plus at all? Or?
Yeah, yep, they're all on there. So you can go through and go like the on-demand section of Discovery Plus, and they're pretty good shows.
Brilliant.
Excellent.
Thank you for joining us, Todd.
Thank you. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll speak to you soon.
All right, bye.
Take it easy.
Thank you.
Right, guys. Thank you for joining us. Tomorrow night at 7:00 is Gary Fields with GF Uncensored. So tune in for that one. He'll be talking to Darren Higgins. And we will be back again in 2 weeks. thoughts with Ed and Paul from GPIS. Thank you for watching and speak to you all soon.
Thank you, guys.